Hey, just because you're sleepy doesn't mean that I don't think you're a murderer, lady. Your lack of properly buttoning your shirt won't save you this time. Miss Meal. Wake the actual hell up. Are you tired from a long day of murder? Miss Meal! Do you recall what you said earlier? About when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhengfa? You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at the time. However, that is simply not possible. Because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Zhengfa. Miss Cami Meal! Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did. No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Meal. But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well, Miss Meal, if you please, tell me about your alibi during the time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Real quick on the uptake, aren't you? Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. From 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Okay. How is a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Meal, wake up! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm gonna be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Verbally, with words, not physically. We're not doing that. Moving on. Okay, well, I mean, I know you're lying because, frickin' Rhoda was in the thing at the time. So, we press. He said press, so we're pressing. So, you were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one even popped their head in to say hi. Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Yeah, we should. Miss Meal, there is a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room this whole time from 5 to 6 because of this mess. Suitcase receipt!
Take that!
Get this mess! I wonder if you'd be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Meal. A receipt? For what? It's for the suitcase Miss Rhoda bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m., Miss Rhoda. Yes? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now. I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie! Now then, Miss Rhoda, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which, I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Meal there at the time? No. So, Miss Meal, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? I'm asleep. Miss Cami Meal! The bathroom? I'll be the one to ask the questions here! Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know, I had to pee. Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? All right, I'm a-listening. Reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew. But you'd think then maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too. She's the one in charge of the elevator key card in the shop, you know. If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Rhoda out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you've got your eye on Miss Rhoda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Ha ha! Point flew right over that man's head. Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Ignoring that, now's not the time for this sort of talk. We've got stuff to do. All right, then. I know you're suspecting me because I'm part of the crew, yes, but you think that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know. Okay, well, I want to press that. What are you in charge of, Miss Meal? Yeah, that's what I was hoping you would ask. I take care of the attendance room. That doesn't count. Oh, but I spent so much time in there. I might as well be my responsibility. Mr. Edgeworth, Cami is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English. Ain't that interesting? Especially those who speak Borginian. She's the only one on this flight who's fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of what am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian. She's fluent in Borginian. Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian? Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian. Very interesting. That's more than enough to work with. Is that really all there is? Oh, there we go. All I'm in charge of is that stuff. All right, then. Mind if I show you... where's the thing? Is it this thing? It's this thing! Objection! Smug. So, you're the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borginia for a while. I don't think you are the type to study anything ever. If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? The theme music is going! Hey, that got your attention. This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borginian is you, Miss Meal. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Aphrid could not have occurred. I'm sleepy. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you! Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that a bubble blower? It is exactly as you... Was she faking her snot bubbles? Wow, okay. It's exactly as you say. Are you confessing to have participated in the smuggling? No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that, so the sleepy-headed routine was all falsified. Disgusting. I was the one who signed off on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really, all you did was sign it. I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So, sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is gonna be one tough fight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition, whatever. Even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that. Objection! If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring. And just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. Yeah, don't you blow bubbles at me like that! So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Trying to get soap in my eyes, will you? Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Miss Rhoda who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. You have no proof that Rhoda is being set up, or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all of the blame for the crime onto her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions. Uh-oh, what's he talking about? This proves that the killer was out to frame Miss Rhoda from the very beginning. Because they use this. Yeah. That makes sense. Because she always has these things, and the body was found in one of the things that she was buying because she had the receipt and all that. Yeah. The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? Ah, there you go. We got something going here. The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Rhoda from the murder. Miss Rhoda buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body, well, that would put her in a very tight spot. A almost completely impossible to explain spot. Oh my. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. Don't ask why I do that, that's none of your business. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. What special circumstances dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? Where the murder took place, when the murder took place, who the murder victim was. I believe it is where it took place, because if it took place in the cargo hold, literally only 2 people could have possibly done it, so of course you had to pin it on her. The special circumstances is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chance that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Rhoda or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Rhoda or myself, but you, Miss Cami. Only you and you alone could be the killer. And that's a rather blasé reaction. Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. And bubbles. Oh, that's good music. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into the bigger picture? Well, I mean, yeah, we never did find this. I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing, and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on. And that is the victim's cell phone. Francisca, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks's cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks's cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean, the killer took the phone with him? Precisely. And I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? Kinda depends where he landed. We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will he? Assuming the cell phone battery didn't die. They tend to do that. Francisca, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. Agent Hick's phone! It's ringing from somewhere, sir. I hear it, detective. Now, where is it coming from? I don't know. Sounds like the phone is up in the flight attendant's room. Oh, we better hurry to the flight attendant's room, sir. I was unaware that that's where that was coming from. It's dumb, I know, but I feel like I'd missed something. Miss Mail, wake up! Sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I got sleepy all of a sudden because it sounded like a lullaby I used to love as a child. Yeah, I better find that cell phone fast. I know, but I don't want to miss dialogues. Mr. Edgeworth. Don't worry, Miss Rhoda. I'll get to the bottom of this and find the truth. So please wait here until I return. All right. Thank you for all you're doing, Mr. Edgeworth. Up, 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 up. Sounds like it's coming from the flight attendant's room. I agree. Please don't hang up just yet. Let me find it first. That's fine, but let's get one thing straight. Yes? Don't you dare answer his phone when you find it, understand? I understand that you don't want to pay for the call. Ha! I get it. Also, does this mean he doesn't have voicemail? Ah, it's louder now. Don't like that. Yep, okay, I know where I am. Don't need the play-by-play. The ringing is coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. All right, well, obviously, the lockers are where to look. The ringing's coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. Let me guess, it was probably stashed away in Rhoda's locker, eh? This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Rhoda's. What? Okay, thank you. The ringing stopped. That's nice, at least. Ow. God. That was less than pleasant. Ugh, okay, moving on. So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where'd you find the phone? You say that very confidently. I found it in the flight attendant's room, in Miss Rhoda's locker. But what? But, Rhoda! I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda right away. Nah, we ain't doing that. Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the key card. When the killer went to steal the key card, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Rhoda's locker at the same time. This is related to the key card, all right. In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. Come The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. Ah, blitz. What should I do? Francisca's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on or in it. Hang on! Yeah, there we go. Hold it, hold it, hold it. What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. Okay. What am I... What is... Oh! Oh, I know. I get it. Ah! It's a camera lens! Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of a smuggling? Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Francisca, I need you to confirm something. The cell phone, can it take pictures? Can yours not, Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own, and mine can take photos just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with us? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. I go back to sleep now.
Objection!
Oh, Von Karma says nay. The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisca? How do you not know this, Edgeworth? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. The information is still good, like a creamy nougat center. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisca, your phone, if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Give it a moment. It takes a few minutes. All right, just playing it now. What do we got? Yo, that thing wasn't there. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for his smuggling case. Hey, the F-Red's nowhere in this pic, sir. This has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? She's right. Not much we can find out from this Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use? Okay. I'm not 100% sure here. I could only... I don't know, the boxes? What's all this? Hmm? Oh! They are cargo shipped from Borginia to Zingfa. Oh! Derp! That wasn't there before! Right. So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zingfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me about the contents of these boxes? Unfortunately, there's no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of boxes is written in Borginian. It says... It is cloth in English. Cloth? The cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer... But what? What is for the scary face? Miss Meal. Yes. It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. And my music is playing. I get it. Oh, I get it. Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. The Virginian cargo and this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. Okay. All right. We need the cloth. That means the killer had to get the cloth out of a Borginian box, and somebody who doesn't speak Borginian wouldn't know that it was cloth inside the box. What was this supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I've finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zingfa had cloth written on it. In Borginian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with. What do you guys say about that? That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Borginian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cami Meal. Oh, what? What's your defense? That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Borginian. Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Borginian, well then, why wouldn't they just go over there? Logically, the killer would have opened up the giant box of bed sheets. That's easy to read. Hey, it says bed sheets in English right on the box, sir. Precisely. And bed sheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? So what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, and we've proven that I'm not, just need to point that out, this box of bed sheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Borginian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold. So, they were afraid to leave signs that the box from the sheets had been opened. However, the Borginian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. A purple and yellow color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zingfa. That's right. That is why the Borginian cloth was used. Because it was going to get taken out of the plane anyway. No one would have known the box was ever even opened. And the only Borginian reader on board who can make such a calculated decision is you, Cami Meal. You and you alone. Yeah. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zingfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So what do you say, Miss Meal? Why not confess to your crime here and now? Or would you rather wait and see when we find out from the investigation in Zingfa? That'll do it. He was in Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. Oh boy. Well. There you go. Not bad on our part. We finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. She might have a rabies. It was scary, sir. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. It was probably like a desperation play. But it makes sense. Otherwise, why on earth would you go... You wouldn't do a murder somewhere like this if you had a choice. One thing is for sure. The ring behind this whole mess means serious business. Looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. And I ain't talking about a transformer up in here. Mr. Edgeworth. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. And remember, we here at iFly Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Now I must bid you farewell. May all your skies be blue no matter where you go, unless you prefer overcast, in which case I hope for that. Nice gal. Obviously has a crush thing going on there. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy, was it fun. I mean, not for the dead guy, but you know. Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. Basically 3 things that kind of throw me into a paranoid fit. By the way, where's Francisca? She's filling out some customs paperwork from her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's always been flying the country to country, chasing down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. One car canceling later. Francisca has reappeared. Francisca. I thought I told you when we first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time. However, it has been a while since we last met. Well, I mean, it's been like maybe 7 minutes. But I meant like in a relative sense. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am? You're Francisca Von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing parrot living here, life on the name and fame our invincible father built. True, your father Manfred Von Karma didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor, in case people, are playing this as their first Ace Attorney game. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? Well, for one thing, he got shot in the shoulder. That clearly affected him a lot. On top of that, he also totally lost a right, so... The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. No, sounds dangerous. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there is another agent on the case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Oi, sorry, it's been a long day. Who knows? You may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose. But I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. Ah, well, you rarely do. I'm talking a lot of riddles. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back. In full. With euros! Ha ha ha! And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness. I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch for a whip. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. Ah, it was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. Oh. I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. Just how much did you cut his salary by, Francisca? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus, I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Francisca von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play. And the players on the other side of the war. They would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Ew. Oh. Edgeworth speaking. Ah, finally. I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through. And you are? Ah, have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy? Mr. Amano? Ernest Amano, correct? Ah, so you do remember me. I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped. Well, that's a fair bit of intrigue! All right, then. Brand new episode, The Kidnapped Turnabout. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, then. That one was a lot of fun. I really liked that. It was interesting because it was all super confined into the airplane. I know that everything was confined into Edgeworth's like office in the first one. But I don't know. I kind of like these sort of closed-in area type deals. It's really neat being able to get all this to work out. And there's a lot of the old Ace Attorney style in this, obviously, but I like the things that this does different. This has been really fun. In the next part, I guess we'll be solving a kidnapping case. That's probably going to end up turning into a murder at some point. Let's be honest with ourselves. Hope you had fun, and I'll see you all then.